This has been a crazy week, guys. Crazy week. First of all, if you're a long-time Golden Blue subscriber, do you notice anything different? No music, none of the flashing graphics in the beginning. Well, I switched phones today. I switched from a Samsung to iPhone, so there's still a few things that I need to recover, including, my intro. So that's missing. No big deal. Hey, at least I get to the point sooner rather than later, right? But today is capping off a week that's been very up and down for the Pac-12. Very up and down. It looked like doomsday there for a minute because I was hearing that Arizona State was not happy at all with the TV negotiations between the Pac-12 and ESPN, and the number that I was hearing was around $25 million. Now I'm hearing that number could be anywhere between 30 and 35 million. In fact, what I heard was that the Pac-12 turned down a deal worth $30 million, which is automatically more than 25. So I guess the thinking is they think they can get even more. So 30 million is still more than 25 million, even if they take that deal. And last night I had a great live show with Tide Guy and Tony Altimore, and there's a lot of things that I learned about the Pac-12. First and foremost, it seems like, now we'll see in the next 2 weeks, we will see what happens 100%. But what it seems like is the Pac-12 teams aren't even considering the Big 12, not even thinking about the Big 12, which is a big surprise to me because what I've been hearing over the past 6 to 8 months is that the Big 12 has been talking to Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State, trying to get them into the Big 12. If there's no interest at all, then why would they have talked? So the biggest thing is the research money. These schools in the Pac-12 make a crap ton of money in research whenever it comes to being in the Pac-12. Teams that were outside the Pac-12 that joined the Pac-12, their revenue for the research went through the roof. Like sometimes 100%, sometimes 200%. I mean, these numbers get absolutely crazy. So it's those big-time research numbers that outweigh the football numbers. I mean, if you think about it, hundreds of millions of dollars per year compared to tens of millions of dollars per year, there's a big difference. You would probably choose the conference that's giving you the hundreds of millions per year. Now, it also depends on how serious you are in football, but that's only part of the equation. So, here is my update. This is what I've been hearing. What I've been hearing is that the Pac-12 is close or have finalized the deal. What? Yeah. I don't know the number. I don't know when it's going to be released. But what I'm hearing is they finalized the deal with ESPN, which is kind of shocking. So it seems like the Pac-12 is safe for now. And I don't know how long the deal goes, maybe 2030, 2031. And on top of that, you got to think of the Tier 2, Tier 3, which we know they're talking to Amazon. I actually don't think that's a good idea. If I were the Pac-12, seriously, if I were the Pac-12, I'd be talking to YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, streaming services like that. And here's the thing. I do think that streaming is the future of college football. I think that will be the main source of revenue, 10, 20 years from now. But Amazon, nah. I don't know a crap ton of people that watch Amazon TV, but I do know a crap ton of people that watch YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, those streaming devices, and so on and so forth. But Amazon is just not, in my list, it's not at the top. So I don't know if that's a good decision or not. But my point is, Tier 1, they're looking between 30, 35 is what I'm hearing. Tier 2, Amazon, whoever it is going to be lower than that. But it is comparable to the Big 12. Bottom line is, I'm hearing they're not interested in the Big 12. In fact, I'm hearing there might be some options for the Pac-12. Options? What are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about expansion. Holy crap. Yes, expansion. And the two names that I'm hearing, San Diego State and not Fresno State. It's actually SMU. Yes, the two biggest names that I'm hearing for the Pac-12, San Diego State and SMU, which does make sense because San Diego State helps you kind of recover that Southern California market. Trust me, it does not make up for it. USC and UCLA, that is still a tremendous loss. It's kind of like what the Big 12 did. They lost Oklahoma and Texas, which was a gut punch. I mean, people thought that the Big 12 was done, including yours truly. I thought it was over with. But what they did was they went out and got BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati. Now, that does not make up for the losses of Texas and Oklahoma. But it softens the blow. And that's what I'm thinking with the Pac-12 with these two additions. Now, I'm hearing that we could hear an announcement as far as Pac-12 expansion with those two teams in the next 2 weeks. You heard me, 2 weeks. I'm not holding my breath about it. This is not a prediction, okay? I'm just saying it's what I'm hearing. It could happen. We'll see if it actually happens. And if it does, then I'm going to be talking to these people that told me this a lot more because I'm not hearing it from anybody else. So I'm not holding my breath. I'm not calling it a prediction. But I'm saying if they're right, I'm going to be on the phone with these guys a lot more because they are the only ones saying anything like this. On top of that, Pac-12 might have more options. Now, even if you take SMU and San Diego State off the board, Pac-12 has 3 options. Possibly. First option, stay at 10, stand pat, sign your new TV deal, try to last till 2031. Maybe if that's the only thing they can do, I can understand that. But I've said this multiple times. The Pac-12 needs to do something. In my opinion, my humble opinion, if the Pac-12 does nothing, that's not good at all. To me, that's a sign of tapping out and just trying to take a knee, trying to outlast the shot clock, stuff like that. It's not showing any type of aggressiveness. It's not showing any type of trying to be proactive. That's not even being reactive. That's doing nothing. So I think that's the worst choice. And then, of course, the second choice, adding 2 members, going back up to 12. And the 2 members would be San Diego State and SMU. I'm hearing those 2 teams are the highest on the list. But I've already talked about that, so let's move on to the third option. Third option, add 6 teams and go to 16. Huh? Yeah, I've heard that. I really have. So if they go to 16 teams, adding 6 members, who would be their choices? Well, of course, first 2 teams, San Diego State and SMU. SMU, I think, is a choice that a lot of people don't see, but it does make sense. It gives the Pac-12 a footprint, a solid footprint in the state of Texas, and it's not that far away. You're not going way across the country. And Texas is a great state to have a footprint in, so I can totally understand it. And then, of course, San Diego State, you're trying to recover some of that viewership in Southern California. But beyond those 2 teams, who could they be looking at? Well, they could be looking at Fresno State. And I think that the Pac-12 needs to be looking at Fresno State because that would gain some more viewership in Fresno State. Fresno State is a building brand. They are a building fan base. It's getting larger and larger. Why not buy them low and then allow them to build up and make you more money in the long run? I think Fresno State, the Pac-12 needs to be looking at you. That's just my opinion. Any more options out there? I think there's a few. Now, some of these get kind of out there, but bear with me. The next one, Rice. Rice? Yes, Rice. Rice has great academics, great research. They check all the boxes. They have AAU status. They are in the state of Texas. It would give SMU a traveling partner. To me, Rice would be a no-brainer. I'm just going to be honest. Rice is comparable to a Stanford. I think these 2 conferences, as far as Stanford and Rice, would really get along. And I think they would mesh well with the rest of the Pac-12 as well. Yes, I'd take Rice. I don't know about the brand. I don't know about the fan base. But as far as bringing in academics and research money, Rice can do that. The next team, this one's going to surprise you too. Tulane. What? Yep, Tulane. I'm telling you. Fan base, not that supportive of Tulane. But they do have AAU status. They have great research. It stretches the Pac-12 even more, just a little more east. Not way to the East Coast, but just a little more east. And it kind of connects the western side of the Pac-12 to the central, which is Texas, and then a little bit more. But I think Tulane is a decent brand. I know they're not high on a lot of people's list, but I'm telling you, they would make money other than football for the Pac-12. And they were the best group of 5 team this past season. And don't forget, Tulane did beat USC in the Cotton Bowl, so maybe that checks the box for the Pac-12 as well. Because remember, USC is leaving the Pac-12 high and dry. Another team, now this is way off on the East Coast, so we're starting to stretch here, people. USF. USF has great potential in football, great academics, great research. So as far as the academics of things, it's a no-brainer. But football is what you want to be looking at for USF because that is a stretch. USF has announced that they are building a new football stadium for USF. I think it's supposed to seat around 45,000. So it's not a massive stadium, but it's a state-of-the-art stadium. It's going to be really nice. comparable to Baylor, so it can be expanded maybe up to like 60, 65,000. So they're showing a lot of potential. That would be an investment, not expecting an immediate payoff for the Pac-12, but an investment to where, okay, this is going to pay dividends in the future. One team that I haven't mentioned that a lot of people are like, why are you not mentioning this team? Hello, Gold and Blued, Boise State. Well, the Pac-12 is not interested in Boise State, bottom line. Do I think the Pac-12 needs to look at them? Yes, but only for football. Their research is not that great. I think they're a Tier 3, and the Pac-12 prefers Tier 1, Tier 2 at minimum, and Boise State's at Tier 3. That's the main thing that hurts them. And their academics, not terrible, don't get me wrong, not terrible, but not good enough for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 most definitely looks down on Boise State. And this is the reason that I'm hearing why the Four Corners are not interested in the Big 12, because of the research money. It's just not there. And that's why they want to stay in the Pac-12. And that's why the teams that they look at to expand, if they do expand, must have great research facilities and bring in a lot of research money. That is something that they're going to be looking at. And then on top of that, now the football aspect, it just can't be terrible. That's the bottom line. It can be mediocre or not great, just not bottom of the barrel. So y'all let me know in the comment section. Number 1, do you think the Pac-12 has signed a new TV deal? And how much do you think it's worth? And do you think that they are adding San Diego State and SMU? The second thing is, do you think the Pac-12 could expand beyond 2 teams? And if so, do you think it could be the teams that I mentioned, or could it be other teams? That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.